Okay, and we are recording. All right, we're live. Let me get us over here to our screen for kitchen table.
Woot woot.
Yay. I think I got everything updated and correct. I think I do. I do. Hooray. Other than I need to move our logo over. There we go. So,
Also,
yeah.
real quick, just for on the technical side, I found something relatively interesting the other day, and I tried testing it out on my setup, and it worked really well. It is a website called vdo.ninja. You can you go to it on your phone or your desktop. You can let's see, what is it? You can you click the button that says add a camera to OBS, or no, that's not it. It's something else. Anyway, it will allow you to use your phone, and it's a web-based client that basically it makes a link between the web-based client and your phone to capture the video from your phone, so that you can also use your phone as a secondary video source in OBS.
Cool. Chris was talking about that. Apparently, he and Claire have been talking since Extra Life about some of the technical aspects, and we'll talk more about that next Sunday when we have our off-air State of the Hydra.
Yeah.
Because apparently there's a whole lot of ideas going around that I have no clue about. So people are finally listening to the I am not in charge, nor do I have to approve everything.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of happy. It's like, I'm so proud. I will kill all of you at the same time, though, if I don't know what the fuck you're about to do.
Cool. I need everybody to do stuff. I also need to know what this shit you're doing.
Mostly because if something changes, I want to be able to support and help you on this and learn it, so I'm not completely ignorant. Like, I will be probably training someone else up here in Monroe on what I've been doing. So that we have a backup just in case. And then eventually, when y'all are all settled down there in Lafayette, I will probably come down there and show someone down there what I have been doing so that they can do it down in Lafayette.
Especially once we're settled, because I plan on dropping $3,000 on a rig, so I want to be able. I'm planning on dropping $3,000 on a computer, in which I will be able to do that. I can do everything that I want to do.
On that same note, Topher keeps looking at my computer and saying there's things we can do to it, and I'm mildly nervous.
I mean,
because
like last weekend was the first time I got a chance to see your new computer. And he is correct. There's
upgrades that need to be done, because my quote unquote gaming computer that I bought from a very reputable third party seller on Amazon for like less than $500 is more or less a souped up mini work computer inside of a giant blue glow box. I know
honestly, the fact that it's a giant blue glow box is probably one of the best things, because that means you got space to do shit.
Oh no, I got enough room. Like, one of the next things I was going to do is upgrade the video card in this, and then look at moving up to 32 from 16 gig of RAM.
Yeah, that is legitimately the course of action you should take, especially considering the fact that now that graphics card manufacturers are making dedicated crypto miners. The crypto bros have laid off of buying video cards, because with the miners there's literally no modifications that need to be done. You literally buy it, stick it in stick it in one of these miners, and it goes to town and does what it needs to do. So the price of video cards has come down dramatically.
I mean, that was going to be one of the next things I looked into, but the problem is when you start talking about the guts of a computer or building your own PC, you're speaking Greek to me, and I know speak the Greek. So, I mean, right now my PC is good for what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to improve for what we plan to do. And I know that. But when all of a sudden Topher comes over in his very Topher way and explains things, I'm like, I still feel like I messed up buying this thing instead of doing others. But also, there's a really god awful laptop that I use as a cam for a laser right now that was our old setup.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, it needs to improve. And I welcome any help. But then I get Bosch and Bosch Kyle and Topher arguing about what needs to be done to the computer. I'm like, look, I have a budget of not money. So keep that in mind when we start looking at what we're going to do to upgrade my computer. Also, I do not want you to buy something for it because then if you do not participate anymore, I do not want the possibility of it being taken away.
Yeah.
um,
I also have an idea that I will save until next week because I think it's something that we may want to look into. I will get into it.
is it a dedicated server or a secondary computer that has a capture card connection?
No, it is a stream. It is a summer stream. Uh, now that we're at a point where we're getting people watching and we're relatively consistent, especially with our do a weekend stream during the summer, with all proceeds going to team bonus action.
That is not a bad idea, but yeah, let's definitely table that to next week because when Bosch was over here earlier, I was like, we're talking about money. I don't want to talk about money.
Yeah.
Someone else
So
on TBA, if we start making or dealing with money, we'll need to deal with the money.
yes,
And
uh,
but
that is a but one stream a year in which it is the case for that to be somebody's problem, I think is a very good idea.
Cool. We'll talk about that.
And considering it's money, it needs to be two people's problems so that two people have to sign before the money can be allocated for anything.
Again, this is the reason I don't like talking about money. And when we used to do steampunk all the time, is why I really wanted someone else to do the money. Because you start getting
figure all it out.
Yeah, you start getting into questions. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So yeah, so I'll start off with the projects I've been on. I have mostly been editing video for a week. I've mostly been editing a video and then doing the setup for the hot wing challenge that I failed at horribly Friday, and then also on the phone with Claire for like the last 2 days trying to get all of our verification stuff set up correctly so that now I no longer have to call her when she's in the middle of something that we've been locked out again. Like we hadn't happened for like a year, but because we had signed in on Bosch's computer so many times, we used up like our verification code limit. So we almost got locked out completely. That's why we streamed on the Miro Raven channel Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, project wise, I have been editing video, talking with Claire about stuff that we're going to do in the future. I am enjoying her writing this high of energy because it means I'm not having to organize things, and I am super into that. And the other thing is I've been procuring lumber to build a bookcase for my uncle, and I think I sent the picture, posted the picture onto Discord earlier. I sanded and oiled some of that fire alder to see what it would look like to make charcuterie boards out of it, and it is nice. It is so very, very nice. Like the white really, really pops, but all the ribbons of red through it look gorgeous. So I've mostly been either editing video or getting stuff together for projects and then doing one little piddly thing to just see what the wood looked like oiled. And I am happy with it. But actually, did I post that picture up on Discord?
I'm not sure. I've been in the woods for 2 days.
I don't think so. I saw a picture of a single piece of wood, but it didn't look like it was finished.
Oh, no. That is just, I hadn't oiled it. Let me see. Do I have a picture of it oiled? Nope. Nope. I do not have a picture of it just oiled yet. However, I will post a picture up for y'all to show you when I had to go help my uncle, what I found at his house, which used to be my house. He said he needed help moving a table. Y'all can see why he needed help moving the table. I just posted it in Craft Talk. So we learned 2 important lessons from this image I just posted. One, you can totally get a table stuck in the hallway that way. I still don't know how he did it. The other thing is that all 4 of the doorways in that hallway at my old house were different sizes.
Nice.
So,
That's a stand it up and move it through sideways table.
oh, no, it was. But I couldn't because the other doorway was too narrow and I could not remove the wheels from the bottom of that table. I had to take the door off the hinges. It was the easiest solution, and once the door was off the hinges, I could actually get it through. So, that is his new computer desk. It's just when I got there, I couldn't help but laugh because he's like, I got it stuck and I don't know how. I'm like, I am still trying to figure that out as well. I don't know how you turned it this way. So that's been my week, is more or less prepping for projects. And Boschkal's dad let us borrow a old bandsaw, and it uses a 56 7/8 belt or blade. Guess what? Nothing in Monroe carries.
I'm going to say I'm imagining it is because I'm imagining that's why it's the old one.
It is the only one he has. It is so old that it is not, none of the standard blades will fit it. However, there is a small Bosch stationary saw that uses the same size blade. So we will probably order those from Amazon to do it. My only problem is the thickest blade that can go on this thing is a 1/4 inch, which I do not think is going to be strong enough to resaw a board without having issues in flex.
You can with a 1/4 inch blade. However, you need to get it 3 or 7 teeth per inch on the tooth spacing, and it needs a set of ball bearing roller guides on the top and bottom of the blade in order to keep it from flexing.
It has one set of bearings, but this is more or less the tool we have. So the biggest thing is I've also figured if I attach a fence to it, that will help us keep it slightly straighter. And we're going to have to go slow, and we're going to have to cut the thing down into much smaller pieces instead of feeding it through all in one large length.
And your rate of feed on that with a 1/4 inch wide blade is going to be about 1 inch every 60 seconds.
Okay, so real slow. But it's we are going to make wooden cake knives, and we have 3/4 inch maple that I know is not 3/4 inch, but if we can cut the piece in half, it will be about the right width for a wooden cake knife, and we can sand it skinnier the rest of the way. But like that's going to be one of my big things next week over Thanksgiving is to work on that as many days as I can get to it.
You could probably just about cut it faster using a Japanese pull saw and doing it by hand.
Probably. I also have, let's just say I don't know if I have the patience for that. I'm fairly certain Bosch does not. But I do have a pull saw. My wife just came in laughing at something.
I'm sorry. I didn't know it was going to be that. What the hell?
What?
It's a blanket monster.
There's a dog under a blanket on my rug.
Okay, I don't know if this is Scarlet and Violet or Arceus.
Uh-huh.
But when you have Tentacool as your Pokemon buddy.
Okay, you need to share that on Discord. Emily's going to share a video with you all on Discord. Apparently watching Tentacruel run is hilarious.
Oh my god.
Hey, you leave my boy alone.
You play Arceus, don't you? Or Arceus?
Arceus, yes.
Okay. And would you get me another one of these, please? Dewey just farted and it's terrible. Yes. Look, I'm not asking you to torture us with Verbo this week, though.
I might do it just because.
My wife just glared at me and said she might send us Verbo just because. So if she shares a link, we might not need to click it.
I mean, it's probably a good idea.
Well, look, everything was fine until we got to the damn horse camp. Like, there was a bathroom that was poorly made, and then there was kind of a dope-ass camp in the woods that looked like a metal fort. And then they were going to use fence pickets for boards on a deck and charge you $80 a night.
Yeah. So you can inform your wife that is not Arceus.
Oh, that is not Arceus?
That is not Arceus.
What is that?
That is Scarlet. That is somebody who has gotten an advanced copy of Scarlet and Violet.
I definitely want to play those games.
Me and Misha and I spent $120 on the double pack. And Kyle and Claire has spent $120 on the double pack. So we will be playing T-5 days.
I might have to do that as a surprise Christmas gift if my bonus that I get this next week's actually decent enough.
Let me know if you do, because this game has, from what I can tell, from everything that they've shown, this game has a legit multiplayer.
Nice.
Like, i.e., run around in game together.
Nox
as
says,
well.
Nox says that is not Arceus. That is someone playing a pre-release of the two new ones.
I figured from the Pokemon trainer's eyes, but
Yeah. And fun fact, they are playing Scarlet.
He said they are playing Scarlet in that
because her tie is orange.
His illusion's okay. Sprigatito sucks. Sprigatito, boil up 2 eggs.
I just want Fuecoco. I want Derp Apple.
He likes being Derp. He gets a sombrero in his middle one though.
You're
touch your faces. I have done everything in my power to remain spoiler free on what they look like.
Well,
past the first one.
now I'm gonna have to do this because of what Emily just said. Because
What
I
is that?
Tentacle.
Oh.
all right, I'm gonna throw something in craft talk that we can discuss after. I shared it with Cannon last night. I'm gonna share it later, but let's find out what other projects everybody's been working on. Yes, and we will go from there.
Wood filament stuff for 3D printing. Yeah, I saw that stuff.
We'll talk about that later. But Cannon, Kyle, did you say what you were working on?
I was Canada. Yeah. I spent the weekend in the woods, alternating between in the woods and not doing a goddamn thing. Mish did not alternate. She spent the weekend not doing a goddamn thing. And it was just as glorious as it sounds. Aside from that, working on a couple of boxes, a couple of new dice boxes, similar to the one that I gave away for Extra Life. The one that I have here is 12 by 12, in the Dark Angels color pattern with the chapter insignia in the middle on a black field, and then the sides are green, or that dark green. And that's pretty much it. It's been kind of a week last week. And then with the impending appraisals of the house coming this coming Thursday, there's a distinct possibility that this shit is going to finally hit the road, and we will be able to start packing and get on our way to being free from a lot of things.
Good. They have drugged their ass on this way too long.
Well, it is legitimately partially our fault. Because if you draw a square and then you segment that square, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you quarter that a rectangle, and you quarter that rectangle like laterally, so you have a long piece, a long piece, a long piece, a long piece. The original layout for the priority zones for this project, which was the top one was priority 1. The third one was priority 2. The bottom one and the second one were both priority 3. We live in that second square. So legitimately, during the meeting with the people who drew this map up, my neighbor, not Claire, the guy that's in the house on the right side of me, raised his hand and went, "Okay, so if I get this straight, y'all are going to offer the money in order of priority zone, correct?" Yes. Priority zone 1 is the highest priority zone, correct? Yes. Cool. What does it mean if that's the case when us in priority 3, in that top priority 3 area, what does it mean when we have to move our cars into priority 1 area, into the priority 1 area, so that they don't flood? And the lady that drew the map looked at him and went, "What? What does it mean when priority 3 move their cars into priority 1 so that it doesn't flood?" Because I'm in priority 3 at the corner of this street and this street. I raised my hand and went, "We live next door to him, and we are legit in that we will flood." The reason that y'all have priority 1 as the highest risk flood area is because it comes through our yards first. And the lady was like, okay. And they spent a good 30 minutes after the meeting. Mish and the guy that lives next door to me, spent a good 30 minutes up there with her going, no, this is where, and pointing and describing how the water flows when it comes in and it starts to flood. So it took at least another, probably because of that, took at least another 2 months behind. They're about 2 months behind because they had to redo the entire priority map. Oh, they're 3 to 4 months behind. So
I'm still gonna opt on the they ought to known better.
I mean, and let's see. We're gonna change this to this. All right. I mean, maybe. However, it's a thing. It's they're doing stuff now, which is the big thing, and this is going to solve legitimately no less than like 9 problems.
Well, at least that's a silver lining, I guess.
This lining is fucking for us for sure. This lining is golden. Especially the way that everything's falling. We're gonna buy. Currently, the nephew is the boy is currently living in Moose's old trailer. He is going to be leaving for the military, for the army here soon. We're going to buy the trailer, which means we now know where we're going to live once everything pops off, which was a concern, because we didn't. And we couldn't plan on where we were going to live because we didn't know how long it was going to take. So, especially in the housing, in the way the housing market is right now, it don't do no good to start looking for places to fucking live because, hey, Mr. Landlord, we really like your place. This state-run project is going to be buying my house. Can you hold your property for 4 months so that I can live there? The answer is unequivocally going to be no every time. So now we know where now we have somewhere where we're going to be able to live, which gets it out from Moose, which makes his life easier. We end up paying off quite a few things. The most important of which is the bankruptcy, which, because we're buying the trailer outright, we are effectively not going to we're not going to have a house note, which means we're going to be adding almost $2,000 a month to our income between not having to between paying off the bankruptcy and not having a house note. So at that point, that's when things get a little bit easier, and then we can start, and then we'll see about having sewage plant, water, power run on the property, and then we'll move the trailer out there. Once the trailer's moved out there, once we're set up out there, then at that point we can sit back for a few months, stack up some cash, maybe 8 months, maybe a year. I don't know. We'll see how everything goes, and then start building a house. We'll with any luck, we'll be, and then we ain't gonna have to worry about anything at that point.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, haven't between stressing over that and work being kind of stupid, and the fact that there is a grand total of three or four weekends between now and between the last week of October and Christmas. There's maybe 3 weekends that does not have some sort of activity or thing that needs to happen. And then trying to split those 3 or 4 weekends into, do I stay home and get stuff done at home and relax, or do I go hunting and relax? Because relaxing is going to happen regardless.
I got to make myself relax.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a thing.
While Mish, I feel attacked.
I had to do it this weekend. Like, physically had to make it happen because I was on the verge of a complete mental breakdown. So yeah, I feel much better.
Hopefully this weekend I will get shop time.
Yeah.
You got to make it happen.
I have to. I got to make Christmas gifts. I also got to build a blanket tree with Bosch, and I might as well build one for my mom.
Yeah, things like my mom's got the rack with the poles, with the blankets on.
Ah,
I don't know why they call it a blanket tree when it's more like a blanket ladder.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just use a ladder.
I mean, there are people who do. That is an option.
You turn your grandfather's old ladder into that for your mom.
Oh God, no!
Don't mess with Papa's old ladder.
Oh no, that thing's a fucking death trap, dude.
Don't mess with
Kyle.
Yeah. I mean, that thing is that thing is. Let me explain Sam Delaney to you. Sam Delaney, Marine, World War II, literally worked every day of his life since he was 15. This man, the doctor told him he needed to stop exerting himself as much by working at the time, which meant working in his garden, like weeding and planting and harvesting and doing work. His garden was nearly an acre. It was almost half an acre. The doctor told him, you can't work in your garden anymore. And 2 weeks later, he decided, all right, I'm good. Took a nap and didn't wake up. There was no such thing as a deal he could pass up when it came to kind of like me, like secondhand tools and stuff like that. The difference is that is in the restoration process. You see, for me, if I get a wooden based tool, I'll sand it down. I'll replace parts that need to be replaced if there's some shoddy parts. And I will rehab it over time until it's like new, and then I will protect it properly. Linseed oil, wood paste, varnish, whatever the case may be. Sam Delaney will sand it down and paint it black. That's how he restored his tools. Every single tool that man owned, he spray painted black because black spray paint was cheap and a painted tool won't rust. Painted wood will decay slower. So he painted everything. This is a 7-foot ladder. It is painted black. it is held together with brad nails and hope. And he ended up replacing the back rungs, the support rungs. He ended up replacing those with like inch and a half. Like ended up drilling them out and replacing them with inch and a half, and replacing those slats with inch and a half dowels. And then Brad nailed them in. Yeah, Brad nails and hope. That's like I climbed it today. I did not go past the second step, because to go past the second step
Is to take your life in your own hand.
Is literally flicking Grim Reaper in the nuts. Well, yes, baby. It's cold and we don't have a heater.
Tell them this ridiculous story.
Oh
my God! Why we don't have a heater?
So in July, my air conditioner started making a really funny noise. Like it started trying to kick on, and then trying to kick on, and then trying all while it was running. You could hear it click to try to run while it's running. So we turned it off. We called the air conditioner people. The guy showed up. He's like, "Well, what's happening is your thermostat, the board, the control board on your unit is shot, and I don't know if we'll be able to find a replacement for it." I was like, "Dude,
wait," because that inside unit is probably older than I am.
Yeah, this is legit. So he's like, "I don't know if I'll be able to find it. You're probably gonna have to replace the whole thing." And I went, "Hold on, time out. The state's gonna buy this house sometime in the next 3 or 4 months. How can we get this to work?" And he's like, "I can bypass your heater. Your air conditioner will work, but your heater won't." You know what? It's July. We've still got 3 months of 80-degree weather. Do that. And hopefully they'll buy the house before it gets cold. Fun fact, they didn't. So we are currently now we're running space heaters. We're running 2 space heaters. The circuit in the main circuit of my house can barely support both of them. We have to kind of prioritize the bedrooms. So the rest of the house is cold as a witch's tit.
Sounds like he needs to see that diesel heater, doesn't he? Huey?
I mean,
share that link if you Cannon, so you can see that.
I'm considering like doing the terracotta heaters for
those work as long as you keep an eye on those little bastards. They'll also burn a house down.
Well, we don't need that anymore.
No, we do not.
So something that we can do that does not require
round table, and you can take that with you.
All right. Diesel air heater.
Oh.
They're using the hell out of them over in Europe right now.
I would imagine so.
The 10-liter tank is lasting about 69 hours.
So it's just a self-contained. It's a self-contained diesel-powered heating system.
And the only thing you have to do is make sure that the combustion air input and the exhaust are outside the house.
Huh.
It's on the maybe list for me with my shed for next year. Because right now, when it gets super cold, I'll be out there and be fine, but I'll come back in turning pink. I cannot get my next door neighbor / assistant to show up when it gets too cold.
Now, to be fair, he weighs all of about 16 pounds.
To be fair, he is not as insulated as I.
Correct.
I am built for colder weather. However, I live in Louisiana. My wife is still trying to get us to move further north.
And I agree with her. Fun fact: did you know that if you go north enough, you will end up below where you start? So
I'm still
if y'all move, so I need you. I think what would be a really good idea is if y'all if y'all moved so far north that y'all ended up in Lafayette. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't mind it, but I'm still working on her. She's still trying to work on me to get me to go up north. Then again, if I could find a large enough piece of property up north, I'd be like, hey, everybody, who wants to take over a small town in Kentucky?
You need to look at the property taxes up north.
Oh, I've looked. There's some states the answer to that is definitely no, like Illinois is on my no list. So is almost anything above the Ohio River, though. And Missouri can kiss my ass.
When you're paying $20,000 to $60,000 a year in property taxes, that's a hell no.
At the same time, I've also been told, no, I can't just go buy a large chunk of land in Montana and have us build a compound.
I mean, if everyone who is on a microphone on this stream moved to a plot of land in Montana, it would double the state's population.
Well, the thing is that if I was to buy land in Montana, I'm not going to buy a little bit of land. I'm going to try to buy enough so I can actually have buffalo because I love those creatures. I have a kindred spirit with them because they can be smacked by an SUV or by an 18-wheeler and walk away. I've been hit by other vehicles and walked away. They might be my spirit animal, them and Ron Swanson.
I want chickens, Eddie.
There has been an ultimatum. Unless I take care of the chickens 100%, there are no chickens. And I'm like, I'm at work all day. The chickens.
Chickens are easy.
Mm-hmm.
You can do everything you need to do for chickens in an hour a day.
Don't you need to have a heated coop?
Hell no. The only time they need heat is when they're young chicks and before they get their feathers.
That's just that having the heat lamps in the coop is literally an amenity
That my chickens will have.
Because my thing is I look at how much I spend on eggs. This is a household that eats eggs.
This same.
Because it is one of the cheapest forms of protein you can acquire at the store. But Cannon, I've seen a ton of pictures. Tell us what you've been working on.
What haven't I been working on? Let's see. I have put in 100 feet of French drain by myself, 6 tons of stone, hand moved with a wheelbarrow. I have disassembled my furnace 3 times, still to no avail. I've been in my box of leather items that I've had cut out for over 2 years and been working on those. I've put together a helmet. I'm working on a shoulder. I've done 2 crossbody leaf bags and 2 Windsor bags out of leather. I've done 2 leather cuffs and got on my ticket to do before next Friday, probably 4 bracers. I've refurbed a bracer. I've been leather working to hell for the last 2 weeks. And tomorrow I'll be pulling an old microwave out of the camper and replacing it. And I've hauled 15 tons of gravel. Still got 135 ton to go. I've cleared a brush pile. Got it partially burned. And shoot, there's so much been going on I can't keep track of all of it.
We've been slacking, Nox.
I mean, obviously.
That's what happens when you're in a family with 3 women and your son-in-law's afraid of heights, and he's generally working as a professional DM when I'm at home able to work.
But Jake's actually still been able to do that?
Hell yeah, Jake's kicking back shit. $1,200 to $1,500 a month DMing.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Like, get it. I guess that's all I can say is just get it.
He even started on Tuesday nights. He goes down to a bar he knows, and they have a live D&D session there.
Huh. I'm about to share something I found on Amazon. I don't think this is what Claire got. But I did not think this is how a bidet worked. I'm going to show y'all the power washer you can attach to your toilet, and it's called a bidet.
Yeah.
All right, that's the quick attachment one. That's the attachment one.
I know, it looks like, hey, y'all, here's a power washer for your butthole.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Save a crap ton of paper.
It would, however, the joke running through my house because of my child is we're eventually going to have to invest in a poop knife.
In a what?
A poop knife.
A poop knife. Apparently, there are members of the TBA crew that is actually a legitimate thing, not to joke about.
Yes. Moose exists.
So I've just been laughing because I was like, okay, it's like my child. We get home from picking him up from his grandparents. I have to poop. And he had to poop so bad he didn't even bother putting the toilet seat down. He just plopped onto the edge of the bowl and went. And when I get in there, it's like, I don't know if I can flush this. Child, what is wrong with you? Your grandmother has a bathroom at her house. Use it. And his response, but this one's comfortable.
we do have a Ren Fair coming up this weekend. That's why I've been working so hard on leather.
Y'all going to the? I'd seen in the post y'all going to the Hammond Ren Fair.
No, we've got a Ren Fair in Robertsdale, Alabama. We do every year. It's called the Jubilee Ren Fair.
Nice.
If you've ever seen Full Metal Jousting on, I believe it's the History Channel,
Uh huh.
the guy that owns the joust teams owns this Ren Fair, and they do live jousting there, live full contact jousting.
Nice, but ouch.
Yes.
They bought the property down there. There's already a Ren Fair running, but they bought the property down there because they can train year round. They're originally from Canada. They can train year round down there for jousting, and they've made it their home base.
Why did you immigrate to Mississippi? Jousting.
No, this is in Alabama.
Oh, sorry. Why did you immigrate to Alabama? Jousting.
He actually says it jousting.
Oof.
But yeah, he's him and his girlfriend, common law wife, whatever you want to call her. They're both pretty cool. She used to dance. She used to dance in Las Vegas. All the line dancers, the high kick stuff.
Mhm.
She used to do that, and I don't know how they met up, but
That's
they're in Robertsdale, Alabama, and they're two of the coolest people you'll ever meet.
Let's see. All right. Projects out the way. What do y'all think of this wood PLA 3D printing material? Like, I've seen it used by Wormwood for mock-ups,
Mhm.
but I'm really tempted. Like, if I could get the 3D printer I have up at work to work again, I'd be really, really tempted, or I would buy a PLA printer just to see, because it'll take a stain similar to wood, not 100%, because it's only like, I think, 20% wood. But just what is your opinion on it? Like, I think it's cool, but I don't actually know how well it would work versus like regular woodworking. Like, I mean, you could make cooler shapes, but I don't. It's definitely not going to be structurally as good as wood.
I mean, it depends on what it's mixed with. I would imagine that it would be. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. Let me pull it up so I can see what. I mean, it's PLA, so I would imagine. Yeah, I mean, it's still plastic. It's just it 4 wood PLA filament bundles. Redwood, bamboo, ebony wood. Each filament is full. There's 20% wood fiber. It's 20% wood fiber. So it's literally so they literally mix sawdust, essentially mix sawdust into the plastic. Ultimately, structurally, for what most of these things, for what most people are going to use 3D printers for. I mean, you're not looking at cornerstones of buildings. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be good for cosplay. I don't think it would be much in decoration. I don't think it would be good for like it like maybe I should say it seems like it would be more or less gimmicky that you 3D printed this little figurine and it was made out of it, or that you printed the handle for like a cosplay gun with it.
Yeah.
Key being it's only 20% wood. As far as sustainability is concerned, if if y'all have not seen my Mandalorian skulls, Mythosaur skulls, I stained them with regular wood stain, and they did okay. Just straight PLA, no wood fiber at all in it.
I mean, it seems neat. It's in that category of I wish that I had enough money to really play with this, kind of like the 3D printers that you can print in metal.
However, the price on that, 37 something for 4 rolls, that is not a bad price on PLA.
It
It is
definitely is
not.
not. It is definitely not, because I had to buy replacement PLA for my 3D printers since I was no longer part of the robotics program.
Yeah, the last PLA I bought was like $27 a roll.
Let's see, how many feet is it per roll?
By weight, it's a kilogram. 2.2 pounds.
Okay, that's not bad. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
I yawned.
I mean, it's a gimmick as far as that goes, but I mean, it give you a good base color. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, I think like let's say you were trying to 3D print Bad News or Animus or something like that because you're trying to do your Percy cosplay. Hey, it's a LeBlanc. He's in the chat. Hey, LeBlanc.
Woot woot.
I figured it'd be really good for that, or if you're like trying to make the handle to a sword or something.
Yeah, for wood ish parts, then it'd probably be. I mean, but then again, it's gonna look like it's looking at it. It's I mean, it's 3D printed. You're not. It's not like you're gonna get wood grain out of it. You know what I mean?
That's true, but also I think you might be able to use it for like to replace parts, like the little balls that go on the top of all my dining room chairs that my child and I have lost the majority of since I got them. I think it'd be okay for that, like a little decorative
Yeah.
bit. I think that would be pretty good. Oh, this week's going to be weird. We had a huge upset in football this week. We got beat by the team that was ranked number 28 while we were ranked number 5. 1 touchdown. Literally a last-minute touchdown.
Oh, that's a thing.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, this is one of the best teams I've seen us have in the near decade I've been at my high school. So when we go in on Monday, I'm going to be telling people to not screw with the football players all day. Because one of the things that, and I haven't seen this at other high schools, is it's almost like they want our sports teams to lose so they can dog them instead of praise them for doing well. Like, there's a level of schadenfreude throughout the student body and some of the neighborhood I teach in.
Uh-huh.
And it drives me absolutely nuts. Like, I am not a big sports ball guy. Y'all have known me for over a decade now. That's weird to say. But y'all have known me for over a decade. I'm not a huge sports ball guy. I will enjoy sports ball if I put one of the mini sports balls on TV. Mostly the Super Bowl and the Olympics. Because I'm not going to waste my time keeping up with everything else. Or maybe I'll watch LSU versus Alabama because I happen to be at my parents' house. But one of the things I cannot stand is when kids that do really get into sports have people crap on them, because to me it's the same thing as, oh, you play D&D or you're a video game nerd. It's something that's just nails on a chalkboard for me, and I put it into it really quick because it's like, hey, look, they played their damn hearts out, especially these seniors who are probably never going to get to play football again. You know, like, because they're not going to go to a school on a football scholarship.
Yeah.
Don't mess with them. They did their best. And you treating them like crap is not making it any better. And if they get pissed at you and curse you out, I'm probably not writing them up unless they keep going after I tell them to stop. So it's just something that just...
While I 100% see where you're coming from, where how I came up, those were the biggest assholes in the fucking school.
Oh, no. Football players, some of these kids are still assholes. But, like, I'll be honest, in my class, and I can only attest to my class, they are no more assholes than any other kid in my class being an asshole. So,
when I was in high school, there was a damn near legitimate blood feud between the marching band and the football team.
that doesn't exist at my school because our band is hands down better. Like, there is no denying that because our band has like multiple state championships for band.
Oh, we did too. But the principal was a football guy, and like we, after years of trying, well, not years of trying, that was a different one. The district band competition, no, marching band festival, the district competition. So this is our local other high schools that we are competing against. That competition rotates where it happens, what school it happens at. And my senior year, it was our turn. So it came to my school. And the way it was situated is to get from the school to the football field, you had to walk across the practice field, the practice football field. So at about 2:00 in the afternoon, the football coach turned the sprinklers on the practice field on. And the festival was at 5:00. He turned them off at 4:30. So he flooded the practice field intentionally on the afternoon of district festival. So that every single band that played there had to walk through the muddy practice field in order to get to the where they would actually go onto the field. It was like, I don't mean just the band nerds and the football team had beef. I'm talking about the faculty.
Oh, screw that. I mean, that it exists at my school because right now, the cheer instructor is in charge of cheer. Don't mess with her schedule; she will get very upset with you. However, she is between loving me and acknowledging I exist coldly, depending on how I do things with her. So I've never moved into the hate category, but our cheer instructor, our football team, our basketball team, and our band, none of them are willing to cooperate with each other for anything. And if I have all the AP honors classes, it means my kids are involved in everything. So if there is a field trip with two of those groups in one day, I don't have any kids. So I lose an educational day. But I then have adults fighting over which kid gets to go on which trip. Like, legitimately, I have a couple of them. It's like, hey, they've F6'd me. They shouldn't go on your trip. Duly noted. Now we're going to argue with each other about the important stuff. And I'm like, cool. They're still F6ing me. So y'all do some fancy math. But
Uh, my junior that same year, we won state. We won we won the state marching band. Like we were we took our state competition. We were the best marching band in the state. The announcement the following Monday to inform the rest of the school was an addendum because he forgot to mention it during announcements that morning.
yeah, that tracks.
This is the fucking principal. He finished announcements and then 5 minutes later had to make an addendum announcement that the marching band won the state competition.
Mm.
Because the band doesn't bring in money.
See, and that's on something that's in the same level as me telling like kids don't be shitty to each other. I have had to tell more than one teacher, remember you're the adult.
Yeah.
And that's something that always frustrates me as a teacher is when it's like, hey, look, kids know I am a sarcastic asshole. They know that if I tell them no, the answer is no. They know that I have expectations of what happens in my room, and if they don't follow it, they don't get a reward. They also know that I will not lie to them or I will not treat them poorly because I'm an adult and they're a child, and it frustrates me to no end when I see teachers get into it with a kid because, like, you've already lost. You don't win an argument with a 16-year-old this way. You win an argument with a 16-year-old by either saying what you're going to do and then do it, or you ignore their ass because they're a 16-year-old and they're just trying to get attention anyway. Getting into a full-on argument with them is not how this works. As much as my beautifully brilliant 6/7th hour, because most of those kids are in it back to back, they have realized slowly but surely this year they can try to argue with me, they can try to be ugly with me, they can try to go somewhere or say they need to be somewhere, and I will tell them no until the lesson is done. And if they lie to me about where they're going to go, I find out. So then they come back, it's like, you're not leaving my room again. How's that? Oh, well, Mr. East, his phone number is on a piece of paper by my phone. I can call him. Also, considering he's my brother-in-law, I can also get him on the cell phone. So you didn't go where you're supposed to, so you failed this exam. You lied to me about where you went, so you don't get to make it up nothing. But that same student, as long as they do everything they're supposed to, there's a chance that 3 weeks down the road, I might let them retake that test because they've done what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But adults being petty with kids is something that's a fire that's just about 3 feet high. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's, and I've dealt with quite a few of those power trip the power trip teachers before too. It's where it's literally they are the biggest assholes on the face of the planet because they are in a position because they have something that they should have never had, which is a position of power in any way, shape, or form.
This is
and the sometimes and the revenge on that is really fun. Like the time my sophomore English teacher who had a habit of lording over attempting to lord over me because they she didn't she the things that my favorite types of books and shit were not what she and what not or were not her cup of tea. So I fell asleep. So she walked in and said, "We'll be spending the next 6 weeks reading the Arthurian legends." And I went, "Awesome!" And immediately put my head down and went to sleep. And and just so happened she decided that was the 6 weeks she was just gonna let me die. She's just gonna let me reap what I sowed. And every Friday we had a 50-point test, and for 6 weeks I walked into class, put my head on the desk, and fell asleep and slept for 6 weeks and aced every single test she put in front of me. She accused me of cheating, and I looked at her and went, "No, I'm not cheating." Well, how are you? You're sleeping every day. How are you passing? How are you passing these tests? And I looked at her and I went, "Oh, because I read the entire this entire section of the book the second day of school. I read because in the book it was the Green Knight, the Mort Arthur, and like three more of the long form Arthurian legends. Like, I read all this like the second day of school. Oh, and you remembered it? Yes. Well, I think you're cheating. Well, I'm telling you that I'm not. She's like, well, I know how to solve this. And the next Friday, she passed out all the tests, and then dropped her advanced class final test for the 6 weeks in front of me, and I aced that motherfucker too. I looked at it, and she's like, and from that point forward, she kind of no, it was like the last 6 weeks after that. At that point, she kind of left me alone, and then that last 6 weeks was Romeo and Juliet.
Oh god, I hate that one.
And I look and she's like, Romeo and Juliet, and I walked up to her after class and said, I hate this. I hate this with an absolute passion. Unlike last time, I am not going to pass these tests because I can't stand this story. And she was like, it's like she looked at me and she said, well, we can do the same thing we did for the last test of Arthur, and I can give you my senior class tests. It's just not on Romeo and Juliet. I was like, okay, what's it on? Said Macbeth, and I went, bet. Let's do that. And so for the next 4 or 5 weeks, because it was the last 6 weeks, for the next 4 or 5 weeks, everyone she's teaching Romeo and Juliet in the front of the class, and I was in the back of the class reading Macbeth.
Much better play.
Oh God, yes. And then I ended up getting because you know it's Shakespeare. I ended up getting like a C on it because she had it was the advanced it was her senior advanced class test that I took. So I didn't do as good because hell, I'd only read it once and it's Shakespeare. So retention on Shakespeare and plus me equals not great. So I got a C and I was happy with it.
I don't know. Anytime the kids have to read Romeo and Juliet, I end up giving them the Cliff Notes. And one of them said, Mr. Hall, I wrote exactly what you said. And she gave me a C on the test. And I said, that's because I was telling you the very sarcastic, dry way of this and not the artsy, fancy, you need to write this the right way answer. So if you told her that Romeo and Juliet sucks because it is the story of an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old having about a 1 week liaison that gets 6 people killed and ends with a suicide pact, you're not wrong, but probably
But you're
once
not gonna pass, dude.
but they want you to
Take
write
this
it.
seat.
That they're going to want you to write a little bit more formal. But also one of them goes, she did not appreciate that your evaluation of this is also that they kill the only 2 interesting characters early on. And I said, look, they killed Tybalt, Prince of Cats. He has a nickname. Either he is nimble and stabby, or that dude has 1,000 cats back in his tower at the house. It could be both.
Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
I know, it could be both. He could be a cat dad that likes to stab. And then you get Mercutio, who basically says, yes, I'm giving the finger. You just so happen to walk in front of it, so I'm not giving the finger to you, but I am, yes, giving the finger. And they're like, so that's what the biting of the thumb is like? Yeah, when I say I bite my thumb at you, sir, or yea, verily, I bite my thumb, but not at you, sir. It means is, yes, I am making a vulgar gesture. You just happen to be in the direction of where I'm doing it. And that's your problem. And that is why Mercutio is great. But I also tell him, the start of Romeo and Juliet is Romeo walking in thirsting for Rosalind until someone goes, hey, look at that freshman over there. And Juliet should have run. And they go, Mr. Hall, that's not true. And I go, yeah, it is, because how many of you go, but he's a real man. No, child, he is an 18-year-old spoiled rich kid. That is not a man. Anyway, I could hate on Romeo and Juliet for so long because it is not romantic, and there are so many other problems in that poem, or not poem, but play. But I'm not, because I will summon my wife in here by repeatedly declaring my hate for that. I'm surprised she is not yelling in the background. The only thing she hates more than Romeo and Juliet is reading anything by Hemingway.
Oh, yes, I agree. But Romeo and Juliet really is terrible. However, that movie they made in the 90s with
The Leonardo DiCaprio movie
was the bomb.
Okay.
Just saying.
I will say this. We all need one thing, and that is a shotgun in a glass case that just says long knife.
Yes.
Canon, I think we need to start making these. Just a shotgun case that says long knife.
Yeah, the sword and rapiers, are twin pistols.
So, I mean, it is... That fever dream of a movie is one of those I'm like, oh yeah, this exists, because wasn't there also another Romeo and Juliet movie that came out around the same time that was more true to the actual play?
So,
like, my brain tells me that Leonardo DiCaprio was in like a traditional production of Romeo and Juliet. And then I remember, no, he was not. Also, the dad from Tommy Boy is in that.
I mean, it was all of the original language.
This is true.
Yeah, it was the legit the is the actual dialogue. However, it was just set in modern day and updated and shit.
Anyway, we have gone about an hour and a half, guys. So anything we've been watching on YouTube and stuff, I'm gonna say I've started watching Laura Camp. Do either of y'all watch her?
No.
She is remodeling like a 160, 180-year-old house in Germany that she bought. And so like she's finding out more and more about this house that was in trouble. So she actually gutted a wall. And when she bought the house, they said that most of it was your regular post and beam, or not post and beam, but your regular balloon framing. The addition was balloon framing. When she started tearing into her walls, one, she found Deutschmarks that had been used at wallpaper and then plastered over at some point. So that's post World War One. But she found out that it was post and beam with mortise joints, which meant if she had to replace any of the walls, she had to replace it with the exact same. So she has had to learn like 100-year-old, well, more than 100-year-old house building techniques to rebuild her house. And it's been very interesting to watch her do that. And it's also to see how like old houses used to be built before balloon framing became the standard.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact watching a lady who is barely bigger than my wife hoist a 8x8 solid timber post into place and then smack the hell out of it with a wooden maul is just awe-inspiring, because I'm not sure I could have done it. Because I'm looking at it like, that's heavy. But if you don't get it in place, the house collapses. So I understand that you're going to find a way to do it no matter what, but that still looks heavy.
Yeah.
So I've been watching that, and with Vincent a whole lot more of How Ridiculous, because they throw math in every so often to what they're doing. So my child is now learning how to measure everything in meters and kilometers for velocity. And they tried that crap back with me in the 90s, and I still don't understand metric fully. Other than whenever I get metric size, whenever I have to build something using metric size parts, I eventually get pissed at it. Instead of just use imperial. So that's really what I've been watching and participating in on watching things. So I recommend those. If you have not watched Laura Comp, go watch her.
Nice. I've pretty much I'm watching a few things. Just a lot of mindless stuff. Pete the Wargamer's mini conversions and Ninjon's painting stuff, and my self-reliance, Sean James's cabin build, and Minecraft videos. That's pretty much it. I'm mindless.
I'm sorry, I was going to say I've let a lot of my self-reliance go by because he's just caulking the boards on the side of the house. Like,
Yeah, I have. I'm up. Well, I was up to date. I gotta. After I watch tonight, I'll be up to date.
oh, before I forget, this is me still near the headset.
She is not.
Oh, well then tell her, if you watch Dancing Bacon or I Will Always Travel for Food on YouTube, Japan is making canned cake. And it sells out the day they load the machine. Like, it is a Coke can full of strawberry shortcake or chocolate strawberry shortcake or pudding. Like flan style pudding. And my only response is, you got a whole beer can full of cake. I kind of want to try this. Because I am a fat kid. But then Emily proposed the idea that we do this same thing with mason jars, but make rum cake. Which for me probably means it'll be a mason jar full of rum.
I got cake in a can in the mid '80s, with old sea rations.
Cannon, that does not count as cake. That barely counted as food. That they did not take care of y'all with food back then.
It was still cake. It was still canned cake.
Yeah, but this video made it look good. I've heard about sea rationed canned pineapple cake, and I fear it. Because my dad's description of it is, if I'm remembering right, either it was meant to plug you up or it was meant to empty you out, and I can't remember which one.
Well, then MREs, the cheese would plug you, the gum would unplug you.
Oh, I learned that the hard way when I got a whole box of those after Katrina, because we saved all the gum out of that, and then me and a friend started chewing it one day, and then that just did not end well. But what have you been watching, Cannon?
Same old same. Mostly homesteading, farmsteading, tractor reviews, listen to the survival podcast, and Mike Rose got a podcast out I've been listening to.
Is that the new one, or is it still the way I heard it?
It's still the way, kind of like the way I heard it, but he's gone into more longer form, and he's having interviews with folks.
I hadn't seen him in a while. I knew that he was on Fox, and I knew he was also on CNN for a while. After Dirty Jobs shut down, or shouldn't say shut down, when they didn't get renewed.
They got renewed.
Oh, so there's more Dirty Jobs again now?
Yeah, the opening episode, he was cleaning a water tank in McGee, Mississippi.
Crap, I might actually have to spring for Disney or Discovery Plus. That also means I get Ghost Adventures again. So I can see if Zach is yelling at demons in the darkness still.
Producers are making him. So yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it is almost 10 o'clock. And it is cold in my house, so my bed sounds like a good idea right now.
Yep, my pup has been whining for the last hour to go out.
All right. Well, let's see. Stuff that's coming up tomorrow. We'll be playing Holy Winds again. We will get Kyle caught up. Emily has told me I should just put you on the Vessel Express to catch up with everybody else, Kyle. And I will just, if I do that, I'm just going to post the GIF of the moose snow plowing through like 8 feet of snow like it's nobody's damn business. Because I think that would be the experience. So we got Holy Winds tomorrow night. Thursday, we do not have Tears of Kairos coming back yet. It's going to wait till December because Jed is in Texas for training all week, and we didn't want to start that back up without the whole gang being back. So Thursday is an open night. We might be playing a game. I'm not sure because that is my birthday. We might do a birthday game. Not sure. Next Sunday should be the... I don't know if we're doing it or not, but Claire has been amping it up. And so we may do the peppermint versus pumpkin spice argument discussion versus round battle. I don't know. I will argue that I'm on team licorice just so that everybody has somebody to hate. But that might happen, and then we will have the Stay of the Hydra. And then Thanksgiving week, we're going to be quiet because Wednesday night I will be in Baton Rouge and not able to access a computer. And Thursday will be Thanksgiving. So the week of Thanksgiving will be quiet. And then we will come back strong that last week of November / first week of December. So that's what we got going there. Social-wise, anybody that's watching, please go to teambonusaction.com. Claire has built us a website that looks amazing. So please, 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 if you can, go by there. It's how you can also find all of our other socials. But if you don't, remember that we are Team Bonus Action on Twitch, Facebook, and Linktree and YouTube, and we are at bonus_team on Twitter, as long as Twitter still exists. Which it does not look like that is going to be. It might not make the night.
No.
So that's a whole thing. So we're gonna have to find a replacement for that. My vote is for Mastodon. I know nothing about Mastodon, but its name is Mastodon, and that is both a band and a big creature that were somewhat enjoyable. I don't actually know if real mastodons were enjoyable or not. I'm just assuming giant fuzzy elephant.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Anyway, so that's what we got coming up. And Nox, since you're here,
We appreciate y'all hanging out with us this evening, and hope we were at least a little entertaining as usual. So until next time, folks, don't let your meatloaf.